We are live, coming here with a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Trevor, and tonight we are joined by Andy. Andy, how you doing tonight?
What up, what up?
We're also joined by Alex. Alex, how you doing tonight?
Yo, yo, yo.
And we are here with the episode 7 recap show. And let me tell you, tonight's episode was a bit of a letdown, I think. You liked tonight's episode? I thought it was kind of, they were building for that big power play move, and it just didn't happen. And I really wanted to see bananas thrown in just to see what would have happened. But in the end, it was still a vet going home, a true champion going home. So we'll start with Alex. Tonight's episode, initial thoughts.
Yeah, I think it was – the episode itself wasn't amazing, but, I mean, we have to just start off with the fact that we're all live in studio. It's kind of –
Is this not Photoshop?
I think it's maybe the third time that we've had a Thanksgiving Eve episode where the challenge is going on. We had it last year, so it's almost a STP tradition now. The one time a year, Thanksgiving Eve, where we all get together and really give thanks for our family, the STP family. And so that being said, like, it's a great tradition, great all being back here. But the episode itself, there was just far too much he said, she said for me. But I think overall, we're back. We're all here together giving thanks. So that's what I'm excited
about. Yeah, and before we even jump in even more, Mikey, Dr. Ryan McCord, love to see you guys in the chat. You guys are the real MVPs tonight. But yeah, Alex, like I said, starting with you, what was your thoughts tonight's episode?
I just said.
What'd you say?
What I'm thinking is...
Well, you didn't even say how the episode was. You just kept saying, we're a family, blah, 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 all this stuff.
I said I thought it was average.
Oh, that was it? That was your final statement?
Well,
all right, Andy.
All right, so I actually enjoyed this, even though, like, me and Dominic Toretto, we're all about family. And us and the SCP family are still one. But I actually did enjoy this episode. I know some people think it was somewhat of a snooze fest.
Whoa.
But I enjoyed it. Like, in my mind, this was it had the opportunity to set us back, because we talked about how 2 episodes ago it was terrible. And then last week got us back on the train. I think this is just continuing us down the path we need to be on. It didn't blow off the ceiling. It didn't bring us down to the basement. It was just like, all right, we're still going in the right direction. Everything's still okay. So I enjoyed it. I thought there was a good amount of competition with politics. Granted, there were some faults for the politics side of things, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining, and I was all for it.
So what was your opinion? I'm just messing. So everybody's kind of in a mixed opinion of tonight. I know. I kind of want to stop right there, though. Are you and Ryan McCord beefing a little bit? You were kind of took a little shot at his comment, snooze fest.
No. There's no beef. We're still very much on the same alliance.
Beef's back on.
So I can. Here's the thing. I can understand why some people would think this is a snooze fest, but let's not overlook, like, in my opinion, of a real snooze fest 2 episodes ago. Like, that was the floor. We were above that tonight. So, like, granted, I never want to be below that, but this was, to Alex's point, still an average episode, but, like, I didn't mind it, because the only thing that would really piss me off is if we went down 2 episodes ago, got back on track, and then went back down again. And I don't think that's what we did here.
Yeah, it was one of those episodes where it was episode 7, and it got to the point, it did its job, and it was pretty straight line forward. The one thing I'll say, I thought the foreshadowing was too much this episode. I think the only way I got a little more foreshadowing would have been like if it said, bye-bye, Veronica Darrell. But, besides that, it is what it is. So let's just dive right into the recap. And, the first thing we always do with our recap is Andy's famous streak. And what do we have to say about the streak?
My streak is live. Happen again. Love seeing it as a first scene. I mean, I've been on this for years now, so it was great to see my streak still alive and well. And it's just a great way to start an episode.
I think it's one of those moments where the episode is like it's on a good spot. Like if you don't see the streak, you're like, code red. Like this is not good. And obviously tonight we saw it.
The winners last week were Jordan and Nisa, so they were in the house first because I think there were still remnants of Burger King hidden in the house. So I think Anissa caught a whiff of that, and that's what led them to be first.
Yeah, thank you for your take on Andy's point of the first in the house. So after that, we kind of see a little politicking going on. Everybody's kind of scattered. There's kind of a line drawn, but nothing's been kind of said out loud. And then we finally get Chauncey kind of talking with Jordan, and he's like, yeah, we're boys. I always got your back, all that stuff. And then in reality, spoiler alert, later on in the episode, he's like, I just said we're boys. That's it. Like, I didn't lie or say anything. But, the first 5 minutes of tonight's episode was very politicking. And then we kind of went to the club, which was kind of a day club, would you say?
Day club, yeah.
Day club.
A day club, which they're in Messi's country, Argentina. Yep. So they're in Argentina, and, what?
Well, I'm trying to figure out if they would have had any impact on the recent upset. So
explain this upset.
I mean, you rewind the clocks a couple months when they were filming this. They go to Argentina. Then you fast forward to today. Argentina lost their opening round of the World Cup yesterday, 2 days ago, maybe. So, is the challenge to blame for Argentina's misstep in the World Cup? Something to think about.
Some are asking that, and I think there's a good point that they might have fucked it up. So, if Messi doesn't get his World Cup, should we blame BME?
Yeah.
Wow. You heard it here first. If Argentina doesn't get out of the group and win the finals, BME is to blame for it. You heard it here live. So we go into that, and then I'm trying to think of what else. Anything else from?
Well, I think the other thing was Darrell and Bananas at the day club.
Again, a nice little foreshadowing. Bananas being all, hey guys, like, what side are you on? What side are you on? And just kind of like trying to pick his brain. And obviously Darrell's not going to say anything, which, I've always said I respect that from Darrell, and I don't pick sides or anything. So, it is what it is. And then you saw a little cutscene, I believe, of Darrell and Veronica saying, why would you not say that day one, blah, 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 which is a fair point. Like, why would you not? And I think that was a missed opportunity by Bananas, just being like, hey, where do you stand? Another vet in the house.
Well, here's one thing. I think Bananas did ask that. Bananas was very forthcoming. Darrell didn't say a word.
Very true.
And in one of Bananas' confessionals, he even said, like, Darrell does not talk game, and Bananas only talks game. And we just witnessed the conversation of Bananas wanting to talk game, and that was it. And Darrell didn't say a word in that whole interaction.
Yeah, but do you think that move was too late for Bananas? I mean, he's already been thrown in. Darrell was thrown in once and saved one time. So he was only this upcoming episode was his third episode, correct? This was his third episode.
Third or fourth.
Yes.
And
one of the three.
If you're Bananas, why would you not talk to him as soon as he gets into the house? Kind of exactly what he did with Devin when Bananas came into the game. Why would you not round him up right away? I don't know.
Maybe he tried.
I mean, maybe we didn't see it. Ryan McCord writes, with how little vets are on the season, you would think Darrell would have immediately come in and chalking it up with Bananas. But Darrell never really plays that game, though. He really keeps to himself, and he's a true player. So,
well, and here's the thing with Darrell is I feel like Darrell actually has a life and is a real person, in society. So, like, I feel like he doesn't feel the need to come in and do whatever it takes to win the challenge. He just comes on. He's like, all right,
I'm just here for a good time.
I'm going to go on here. I'm going to give my all. I'm a good competitor. Whoever I'm with, I'm going to try to carry him. And if you honestly think back of all of Darrell's competitors, teammates, partners, Darrell has kind of been carrying the bag his whole career.
Has he?
Who's the best competitor or partner Darrell's ever had?
It's got to be Cara.
And she went
but they were
yeah. And they got knocked out.
EP1.
So if you think about when
Anomaly.
he won his 4 rings and how he's become one of the like competitors for talks of best of all time, he's done that on his own. And that's kind of how he likes to play this game.
Absolutely. And Ryan McCord, before you write, and he's gone home every season since he's punched Brad. We'll get into that.
It's the Brad curse.
And Alex has been on that for a while now, and we'll get into that. So hold that thought. But kind of after the club, we kind of get right into the elimination. We get into the daily challenge, and for the first time this season, we see a challenge where there's a puzzle involved. So that's good. I really enjoyed that. First time seeing a puzzle. Thankfully, we hopefully don't have to see a puzzle again for 5 episodes. But like I said, first time we've seen that. But it's one of those challenges where you have to sprint, like 400 meters, 800 meters, I would say. And then it looked like the pole was it was pretty small. I'm not going to lie. It looked like a Gatorade bottle you would have to stand on. You would have to look across while one person is memorizing the puzzle. So what do we think about this challenge? Do we like it? Do we not?
I thought it was okay. I think it could have been a lot better. I like the format of, we joke around about puzzles, but I feel like something that does play a lot of the times is puzzles with endurance. You have to run back and forth, and kind of one person gets a chance to memorize the puzzle while the other person does something physical. I feel like they throw in 3 or 4 of those every season. This was one of them tonight. I just feel like I don't know exactly what it was, but there's something that was missed here. I don't know if the run should have been longer. Maybe they should have gone all out even more and made it, the mini final that they usually do to like really tire people out. Teams are quitting, yelling at each other, things like that. Or I don't know. I just think I liked it. I didn't hate it by any means, but it was one of those where there's about 5 teams that could have won. We all obviously saw some of the slow teams that had no chance. I think Bananas said that if Veronica was walking any slower, she would have been taking a nap. That's just classic. But overall, I would give it like a 7-1.
Ooh, that high?
Right around there.
Andy, thoughts?
Rating-wise is tough for me. I think everything that has been said is very accurate. The puzzle aspect of it does. So here's the thing, and we saw this in the elimination, but we'll get to that. But like in my mind, the best way to incorporate a puzzle is to make it an equalizer, in a sense of if some people if some people can't compete on the physical side of things, the puzzle is the equalizer to bring them back. But in this aspect, the physical aspect brought some people completely out of the competition. I don't want to say anything bad about specific teams or people, but there's no way in hell Anissa or Veronica were winning this daily. I don't care if they were puzzle gurus, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I get that there's a puzzle there, and I understand the reasoning behind it, but if you have a run of half a mile or so, you can pretty much just rule those 2 teams out.
Yeah, and that's why I think I didn't like this challenge. You kind of eliminated half the teams right away. I almost wish it was one of those challenges, the famous Jordan pulling the puzzle up where he's screaming. I believe that was Battle of the X's too.
Yeah.
And this comes back to our point is if it's not broke, don't fix it. I just don't understand why we keep doing stupid shit and trying to elevate it when we don't need to. We love, certain things. Just stick with it. Why are we changing it at all? So I think the poll was too difficult. It was basically a 2-team race the entire way. And in the end, I don't know how Nelson and Nerese won. It's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. I like to say if Nerese and Nelson flipped positions, do you think they would finish last?
I don't.
You don't think they would finish last?
No, and the reason is, again, I don't disagree with much of what you're saying. ...
So Nelson doing the puzzle.
Yes. Veronica was walking. from the very first leg.
But Nelson doing a puzzle.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
No,
Veronica, like, they could have gone back like 20 times before Veronica had enough time to like actually figure it out. So I get what you're saying. I don't like think it's wrong, but like, even I would trust. Here's the thing, and it pains me to say this, but I would trust Nelly T's brain over Veronica or Anissa's physical abilities.
You would take,
and I do feel confident about that take.
Wow. I don't know.
She walked on the first leg.
But it's Nelly T. He didn't know 9 times 3.
But they could still run back and forth.
That was him and Nicole, right?
No, it was Corey. That was Corey.
Classic mix-up. Hand up. My fault. Yeah, exactly, Mike the Doctor. Spider Nelly T. I mean, just...
Yes.
I think I would take Veronica, honestly. Dude, Nelly T is a bartender who literally doesn't know how to pop a bottle of champagne. He literally got so manipulated. I mean, if Wes was on this episode, he would have just said the exact line we always bring up with Leroy and Wes. It would have been that. It seriously would have been that.
Yeah, but Veronica trying to complete this challenge would be like Anissa pig roast.
I know, fair enough. But I still think Nelly's brain...
Veronica would still be walking right now, 3 months later, back and forth.
No, I don't think so. To be fair, I mean, how I look at it too, she got up, and I don't want to go too far in advance. Believe it or not, somehow she got all the pieces in the last elimination. I wouldn't discredit her that much. I think Nelly T is just a complete dumbass.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but let's not overlook the fact that Tej sounded the horn, challenge is starting, go like figure out this puzzle, and they walked.
Yeah, that's fair.
It wasn't like after 3 heats. It was very first stretch of the potential $1 million daily, and Veronica's walking.
I just think in a daily challenge, I don't see it much. In a final, I would take Nelly T's brain over her walking ability. Absolutely. 100% agree. I just think in a daily or an elimination, the time span is shorter. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
That's how I look at it. So like we said, Nelly and Nerys pick up the dub. They beat out Devin and Tori in a close battle, maybe the closest of all time, right?
Well, no, this was one of the rare times where we actually got to see who won. In real time, we got to see Nelson and Nerys win. It wasn't the classic, we had 2 teams that really killed it. And then they went to commercial, and then we come back and we see who it was. It was like, no, we actually get to see Nelson and Nerys win. So 2 wins for Nelly T. I think the over-under was 0.5 just for him to end the streak. And he not only ended the streak a few episodes ago, but he gets win number 2
Honestly,
tonight.
Andy, I know I just argued with you for about 5 minutes, but him winning 2 eliminations or 2 daily challenges, I mean, that might shut me up right there.
Don't sleep on my boy.
That's all I gotta say.
Don't sleep on my boy.
So they pick up the dub, and then at this moment of the episode, we all know hell's about to break loose. Like, which side is Nelly going to be on? Is he going to be with the vets, or is he going to be with kind of the rookies, the Are You the Ones, the Make-A-Wish, the America's Got Talents of the world? So he obviously chooses the rookies, AGTs, Make-A-Wishes of the world, and all hell breaks loose. So he throws in Bananas, he throws in Darrell, he throws in Jordan, and he throws in Amber B, which I still don't know why he threw that in. So what are our thoughts on that?
So here's, if I'm Nelly T and I'm picking these teams, I'm thinking, and he kind of alluded to this too, Bananas is the one going in. So if that's the case, and here's my credit to Nelly T aside from just winning the daily, but it seemed like he was trying to play a political game, play the numbers, play the draw, play all of that. So if you're Nelly T and you pick these 4 teams and you are going to pick Bananas and Nani, then it honestly doesn't sound too bad for Amber. Because if she picks it, she's safe. If Darrell picks it, she's safe. So then it becomes similar to like what we've seen when Olivia drew up her little Grandmaster plan for Nelly the first time, which, by the way, worked out perfectly the first time, which, by the way, prior to that, I said that they should do. So my plan worked out perfectly the first time. And then the second time, it was on the tracks to work out. And I don't remember who it was, but somebody mentioned in a confessional of like, this plan sounds good on paper, but all we need to make sure is that Nelly T actually follows through with it.
I think it was Jay.
Was it Jay?
I think it was Jay.
So that's where things kind of got off the rails. And
No, not us. Them.
not us, them. But it became very apparent once Bananas got in there and he was like, I don't want to be the vote. Like, you guys shouldn't be putting us in. He gave his whole spiel, and then that whole plan got flipped upside down. That's where things got totally off the rails. And then Nelly T was pretty much just like, I don't know what to do, and then ended up throwing in Amber. So, like, I don't hate where his head was at, but if you're doing something like that and you're putting in one of your top alliance members, you cannot afford to waver from your initial plan.
My question is, why would you not throw Fezzi in?
I mean, he should have been thrown in episodes ago.
Radar watch.
Honestly, like, I just don't understand. If you are making a power play move and you have drawn, everything in the sand, everything like that, why would you not throw them in? Because then, at the minimum, you are literally sending home Jordan, Bananas, Fezzi, and Darrell at a guaranteed, and you're not pissing off another team. Like, let's be real. At that moment, you have drawn, the line in the sand. Like, there's nothing to lose. So I don't understand. Like, you might as well piss off more people in that scenario. Like, Amber B was an alliance for him. I don't understand that vote.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if, I feel like every week now, if not almost every week, I feel like we're always saying that the team in charge has made questionable moves. And I can't tell if they actually are making questionable moves and throwing in teams that they shouldn't, or if it's just a symptom of the fact that they have to pick 4 teams. And this isn't something that we've ever had to really deal with before. I mean, usually it's, the team in charge. If they get any power to send in somebody, it's 1 team. Or maybe they pick 3 teams in a tribunal-esque setting, but they're really only actually picking 1 team. And the other 2 teams are not in the draw. They're completely safe. So, like, they kind of frame it as 3 teams, but it's really only 1. Whereas this season, they're picking up 4 teams. And every single team has a shot to go into elimination and therefore go home. And so I just think it's kind of tough. Like, I don't think that Nelson and Nerese made necessarily the smartest move tonight. But I think if you look at the board and all of the teams, like, you're running out of numbers fast. And, like, if you're even saving 2 other teams, yourself is off the board, 2 other teams are off the board. There might be 7 teams left. You have to pick 4 of them. That's over half the team. So, like, I think they're not playing it as best as they could have, but I think we also need to give them some slack because, like, it is a format and a structure that we just have never seen before. There haven't been this many teams involved.
Now, I want to bring up, do we like this format or do we think this is, like, too much at this time? Like, next episode, would we like to see 3 teams voted in compared to 4? I just feel like it's a lot. And I don't mind playing your cards and stuff like that, but
I think it's too much. I don't like it. I think, format-wise, I think what they should have done if they wanted to do something like this was pick 4 teams, and you don't pick an actual team to go into elimination. They all just pick each other. It's like a bigger draw. Or the thing that fixes a lot of these problems is just sending last place into elimination. We've been talking about that for years now, I feel like.
Yeah.
The fact that, that you can play like shit and kind of skate by, like, send the last place in, and then the winning team sends 3 teams into the draw, and they all pull against each other.
Let me ask you this, because I do like that. And I think today, as EP7 was kind of the turning point of voting in 4 teams is a lot for the winning team to burden. So I want to know if you 2 were to throw in a twist on next EP, what would you prefer? And, like, again, I think you 2 both allude to it. Do you vote in 3 teams? and one goes in and then two have to draw and then one's safe, one's going in? Is it last place goes in, then the winning team gets the pick? If you were to at this point, because again, over the past like 3 to 5 years, like the challenge has been big on throwing in these twists, and a lot of the twists just fucking suck. But if you were to throw in a twist next episode, what would you want to throw in?
Honestly, I would like 3 teams thrown in. I think you're showing your cards too much now. Flip side, if I could dream of any scenario, I would love to see CT in this game right now.
No.
A mercenary. I'm bringing in a mercenary.
Who's his partner? Who's CT's partner?
Tony
Ashley?
Reigns. Can we get him?
Can
back?
we get? I mean, I think a lot of things. I'm trying to think of something that would be like a classic. I feel like at some point you got to eliminate 2 teams in an episode. And
You think we got a purge?
I thought we might get it tonight. We're around the purge setting, but I mean, after tonight, what are there? 9 teams left? 10 teams?
Is
left
that it?
Still?
So wait, that makes no sense. There's only 10 teams left.
There might be. I think there's 10.
Well, if my math is correct.
Well, Mikey the
that means
Doctor
there's only
also
5
throws in.
episodes until the final.
Well, Mikey the Doctor throws in elimination or redemption house.
Dude,
No.
if there's a redemption house,
We're scrapping.
I'm telling you right now, Mikey the Doctor, if there's a redemption house, I will not record another podcast. I'm sorry.
Has anyone paid attention to TJ's vernacular when teams get eliminated on whether they're going home or whether they're leaving the house?
I know what you
Don't
mean, but
remind me.
I have not paid attention.
Neither have I.
Fuck.
No, I think in this era, if there was a redemption house, we would have seen it on the promotion.
I'm just saying right now, if there's a redemption house, I'm done. I'm done.
So what would you like as the twist aside from CT and Tony coming in?
I mean,
Would you?
that's crazy.
Because I think there's one of 2 options. There's last place goes in, or 3 teams get voted in.
I think 3 teams voted in because you're still
I
playing your
agree.
card to an extent. But
I mean, at this point, if you're voting in 4 teams, you're voting in half the house.
yeah, I agree.
What if you did? Let's say tonight they did this a twist, but let's say so like Nelson and Reese win tonight. They pick their 4 teams. They show up to the elimination, and TJ says, "We're having a double elimination, and it's going to be 1 team versus 1 team, and then the other 2 teams against each other." And the way they kind of implement the draw is just the fact that whoever draws it, all 4 teams are standing there. Whoever is safe, even though it's not safe, but they pulled the right thing, and they get to pick their opponent. So they get to pick their, the easiest out of the other 3. Then the other 2 go against each other, and it just kind of speeds up the game a little bit. You get the same elimination, but you run it back twice.
So that would be your preferred twist.
Yes. And I
agree.
think that could work because it's kind of like similar to what they're doing now, even though you're only picking 1 team. Like we said, all 4 teams have a shot of going home. So what you're doing with the double elimination isn't too different. You're obviously putting more people at stake. You're putting all of them at stake because they have to play, but they already all had a chance. So I think that could play.
I like that a lot. I actually think that would be my preferred twist. But then how is that sustainable moving forward?
I don't think it is. I think it's a one-time shock to the system.
And then it becomes...
And then it kind of goes back to normal.
Interessante.
Like
I
you
don't
said.
hate that. I don't hate that.
What was said? Can we just repeat the last 5 minutes?
God, no, we got to keep going.
All right, so we see the teams
We get
voted.
club number 2. Club number 2.
Club
well,
2.
team voted in. We don't see yet. Sorry, classic mix-up. So club number 2. This is where Devin kind of plants a bomb. I guess Amber was kind of the person who started it. Would we say, or
Yes.
so Amber kind of is like, "Yo, there's been shit." No, Devin. It was actually Devin. Devin went to Nelly and was like, "Hey, I've heard some shit around my name." Went to Nelly, and then Nelly went to Amber B.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought Amber started it.
No,
Amber started. Chauncey
Amber,
started it. Chauncey started it
From the
early in
beginning
the
of the
EP.
episode.
Yeah, but I mean, when they were at the club,
No.
No, I'm
It was.
right.
It was. He's right.
what did Devin do?
Devin kind of went up to Nelson,
Nelly
was
T.
like, I hear my name getting thrown
Yeah.
around. In reality, I'm not saying shit.
But who was throwing his name around?
Amber B.
Yeah.
Chauncey.
Well,
No, it was Chauncey.
Yeah.
Chauncey was talking with Jordan.
Yep.
Insinuating that Amber and Chauncey are not really on board with the alliance.
Yes.
So then Devin took that to say that he's saying this, and they're also calling me the biggest snake in the house.
Yes.
To which point, Nelly, after what looked like probably a dozen beers, went to Amber and Chauncey and said, Chauncey, what have you been talking about with Jordan? And then that's when everything just started getting off the rails.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this was, I think I might have touched on it earlier. This was probably my least 10 minutes of the episode, least favorite 10 minutes of the episode. And I feel like usually this should be the most entertaining, but I just lost track of. They got back to the house and Devin and Michelle were suddenly fighting when before it was like Amber and like Nelson going at it. So like I couldn't.
People fighting for no reason.
Yeah, it was far too many people. It got to a point where there was like 8 people outside, and 2-3 were involved, but they kept showing everybody, and then they had the crew inside. I think Horatio had the best setup where he was just laying in his bunk bed, like ready to go to sleep the second it all settled down. But there was just too much going on. I think the summary of it, the simplest form, was that all of the veterans are starting to get suspicious of Devin. They're like, why was he not one of the 4 teams? He seems to always kind of be buddy. Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
And then once that just started a chain of events of, Devin getting mad, like, why are you saying my name? Blah, 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 blah. When in reality, half those teams that were fighting were safe. And so it just consequentially what it did was, fast forward a little bit, was Amber and Chauncey. It basically swapped Nelly T and Narice's vote from leaning Banani to going Amber and Chauncey.
Which was
very big.
Huge.
Yes.
Move.
I think they actually kind of downplayed that. I think they should have highlighted more that, like, they should have gone to a Nelly confessional where he was like, I was really thinking about going bananas, but you know what? From seeing all the stuff I saw from Amber last night, I just can't trust him. Like, I think that would have.
It was a very Jay Jordan vote-in-esque, right? Like, it was just kind of like random. Like, why would you not stick to your gun? Like, you do such a big power move. And, obviously we haven't been on the show or anything, but it takes a lot.
Yeah.
It's not, we can sit here and say, hey, it's easy to throw bananas in until we actually do it. And, I don't know if I would have the balls to do it, especially Nelly, who's a vet, has been on the show in 9 years, has lost, 54 straight daily challenges before the season. Like, you kind of want to have that in your back pocket a little bit. So,
I mean, here's the thing. I don't disagree with you, but the problem is, if you're going to make a move at bananas,
you got to shoot.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Because, like, what happened here was similar to when Jay and Michelle had power and they just totally fucked it up.
Yep.
If you have power and you're going to put Bananas and Nani in this position, you don't leave it up to the draw. You put them in, you vote them in. That's that. And Nelly even said in there, like, to start the interrogation of the line has been drawn and you're on the opposite side of the line as where I am. So, like, if you're going to start with that, but then not throw those guys in, what are you doing?
Yep.
And especially, like, with Amber and Chauncey, like, if Nelly would have stuck to his guns and done the plan, then Amber and Chauncey might have been a little salty that they still got voted in, but they wouldn't have been super pissed.
Yep.
And now, like, Nelly finds himself in a situation where he totally ruined an alliance. He didn't gain any numbers by not voting in Bananas and just totally shot himself in the foot.
Yep. Well, like, to your point, is whose side is Nelly on?
I don't know.
And
He's
that's
on
why
Olivia's side.
And yeah, exactly. And that's like, if you're Nelly T at the start of this next episode, let's say Bananas wins, what's your plea to him?
He's getting voted in. I
He's
guarantee.
dead man
By
walking.
every vet now.
Yes.
And that's why I think this was a dumb move. I would have sided with the vets, player cards. But in reality, though, if I'm being honest, though, where do the vets rank him? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like in reality, like, he's towards the bottom of the vets, if not the last vet. So, like,
I think
if you're Bananas, would you rather save Darrell and Veronica or Nelly and Nerys? I would say he would rather save Darrell and Veronica because they're the weaker
no
team.
doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's probably last. So, I don't know. To me, it was an interesting move, to say the least. Him flipping his vote. But yeah, is that kind of it? And we can kind of go into elimination now?
Yeah, kind of leads right into it.
So going into elimination, like we said, they vote in Amber B and Chauncey Billups. And literally, I think at that moment, once we kind of walked into the elimination, I think all three of us kind of looked at each other and was like, oh, this is going to be a fucking good elimination. It's going to be Zach Rivals 2-esque, the bolt cutters, everything like that. And it was the complete opposite of that. It was literally jumping down, like a McDonald's playpen obstacle course and picking up one puzzle piece at a time and climbing back up. Again, it's not like we've seen a puzzle this episode already. I mean, 2 fucking puzzles already. I mean, come on. So what do we think about this? I guess the team that pulled the dagger, let's backtrack a little, was Bananas and Nani. So this pick, Bananas and Nani down on the floor, Darrell and Veronica, and Jordan and Anissa. For me, it's a no-brainer. You got to go Jordan because who is going to last the longest? And it's Jordan and Anissa. Sorry.
Yeah.
So great move by him. Also, I bulge at the Bananas and Jordan alliance. It's very smirk. But yeah, what did you guys think?
I think, Bananas fucking does it again. He escapes again. I think he was in a good position to be saved, but I wasn't too surprised by the move because, the foreshadowing, like Darrell said, I don't really like talking game. Well, if you would have talked game when you guys were out on the patio looking at the cemetery, maybe you would have been safe. Maybe Bananas would have agreed to save you. But
do you think you would have picked him over Darrell?
I think if they had talked about it, there's a higher chance.
I agree.
There's a higher chance, but I think.
But has Jordan and his partner ever screwed over Bananas in a final, pretty close to
it? I think Bananas is also obviously smart enough too to kind of be in the sand, look up at the thing, and say, Darrell and Veronica probably aren't winning this thing.
No.
And maybe Anissa is certainly similar to Veronica in a lot of ways. So, but I think Jordan is just better at a lot of shit. So I think he's thinking Amber and Chauncey might actually beat one of these teams, Darrell and Veronica. So I don't want to get him. I don't want to be on his bad side. Darrell had a chance. He didn't really advocate to save himself. So I'm just going to send in Darrell and Veronica. I think that was expected, not really a surprise, and a good move by Bananas.
Absolutely. Andy, anything?
I mean, honestly, the only thing that just was mind-boggling for me is Bananas somehow, and this is why he's the GOAT, he somehow went from being the vote to go straight in to being completely safe. And that's a mix of luck. It's a mix of Nelly T having power. There's a lot of factors going into that, but that's just what Bananas does, is he went from being the number one target to somehow not even being in the elimination.
How is that even possible, though? It just makes no sense to me. But I bulge 6-12. But yeah, so the elimination happens itself. And I think Andy said next to me, once we kind of saw, 40, 30 seconds into the elimination, that it wasn't the bolt cutters or anything like that, that I think the Amber B Chauncey odds were, correct me if I'm wrong, you said minus 2,500?
Yes.
Which is probably valid. We all know what the Achilles heel is. We don't have to say it. But it was just kind of embarrassing. It almost gave me vibes of Anissa pig roast, I would say.
I thought there was a chance that Veronica wasn't making it up. I was actually very surprised that she was able to crawl up through those things, given how hard it was for her the first time. The fact that there was a puzzle is just, I think they're trolling us at this point. This was an elimination they could have very easily just not done a puzzle. Like I mean, make the things harder. It was like we said, we thought it was going to be Rivals 2-esque, where there's actually like strategy to getting through each level of the tower, and it wasn't. So maybe you needed an extra thing like a puzzle, but just I don't think they absolutely needed a puzzle. And then when Veronica goes, it's just night and day from like Amber, who's literally like
squeezing
her body and like falling multiple floors at a time, whereas Veronica looked like, I don't even know, it looked like dropping like a basketball down like a crowded room.
Yeah.
Like I don't, it's just terrible. And I felt bad for Darrell, but ultimately it got to the puzzle, which was kind of anticlimactic. They both had a chance to win. I thought Veronica was a puzzle queen. Darrell might have even been a puzzle king at some point. And so for Amber and Chauncey to win, kind of surprising at that point. But overall, not like I wouldn't want to see this elimination again.
Never. Like if you want to throw a puzzle into this elimination, it better be the easiest puzzle in the world. And like you saw some of the, like I'll call them confessionals of the people watching there that weren't in the elimination. And they're like, yeah, we've been here for an hour. We've been here for 2 hours. We've been here for a day. Like if you're going to make a puzzle on this elimination, it better be so simple to put the focus on getting the pieces, like putting the focus on doing the physical part of this. Because, I mean, if it was just solely focused on physicality, Veronica and Darrell would have been dead in the water. So, like, that's the one thing that frustrated me is, like, I don't mind a good puzzle, but when you do it after something like this where you have to go back and forth consistently, it's like, what's the point?
Yep.
What's the point?
Yep. So, as you've kind of told, or as you've kind of tell, God, that was horrible English. Amber B and Chauncey pick up the dub. No surprise there. Bye-bye, Darrell and Veronica. Do we think this is the end of Darrell? I know
he said no. He said no.
Back.
I know that. But do we think this is the end? I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't think so. I don't think this is the end. Good movie, but I don't think for Darrell it is. I think he's kind of on a veterans plan. Like this season, he somehow got the mysterious 3-4 episode bye, and obviously tonight we know that his stay there was only like 4 episodes. So I think he's kind of weaseled his way into that territory. Maybe he'll be a mercenary next time, but I think he'll do it again. I just don't think he'll ever win it again. And that's kind of sad to say, but we've talked about this a lot. The fact that, he went 4 for 4 and then there's been the Brad curse ever since then. He's lost for a variety of different reasons, but I think the reason this season, whatever last season he did and future seasons, is just the fact that the game has changed and he's not really good at adapting. Whereas you see Bananas, CT, those guys are always changing. Darrell's kind of the same. It sucked that he got paired with Shorty V. I think is what his nickname was. I would go with Fatty V, but I think, it was just an L for him going into this season. But I want to see him back. He's always entertaining to watch, but I just don't know if it's ever going to happen for him again.
It's kind of a painful truth. I mean, and I think the not adapting is the biggest part of it. If you look at people like Bananas, if you look at even Wes, like to think of a scenario where Wes and Bananas would be like partnered up together almost seems impossible if you look at the majority of their challenge careers. But then you get to their back nine, and when they both realize, like, hey, we have to do this in order for, like, either of us to have a shot at winning. And guess what? They did it. And, like, Bananas is obviously still doing his thing, and Darrell is just refusing to
adapt.
Yeah, adapt. And, like, granted, he's still a competitor. He's still incredibly competitive at these challenges, but that's only part of what gets you to win a challenge these days. And that's where it's just him. He's shooting himself in the foot by not adapting.
Now, this might be a hot take. I don't know if it really is, but
That's not a good way to preface it. You have a hot take.
I don't know
Give
if
your
it's
hot take.
I don't know if it's a hot take, but is the best thing for Darrell is to retire. Does this hurt his legacy the more seasons he goes on and he doesn't adapt? Like I could see
My hot
now-
take is no,
really.
because I think he should have retired several seasons ago.
Oh, interesante.
Because I think now he's kind of past the point of no return.
well, I think that
I think he's
hurts
already
his-
ruined his legacy.
I agree with that.
Well, I would say my hot take, and like I don't really want it to be a hot take, but I agree.
Wow.
I think at this point, it's kind of like, and hear me out, like I think at this point, Darrell's career is kind of mirroring Laurel's in my mind.
Okay.
Where at one point in time, probably, 4 seasons ago, they were still viewed as some of the best ever. But then the more they do it and the more they don't succeed, and you can put the blame on whatever, you can put it on their teammates, you can put it on the format, whatever. But like the more they do this and the more they aren't willing to go all in on what the challenge is, the more it continues to hurt what they've built. And I think the polar opposite of that is CT. CT is like welcomed everything with open arms. And he, like, if you look at the just almost like character arc of CT from when he started the challenge to where he's at today, or when he last won his last challenge, like he has changed so much. And it's to continue to build up rings, to build up wins. And now we're at the point where we're talking about the conversation should be had of who's the real GOAT, Bananas or CT.
Yep.
And if you were to rewound the clocks like 3 years ago and probably 3 seasons, even though it should have been like 5 seasons, like if you were to like go back in time, it's a no-brainer. But CT's been doing this, adapting his style, and like realizing like, all right, if I want to continue to win these, then I need to change. He's done it. He's done it incredibly well. And he's continued to help his legacy while others like Laurel and Darrell have hurt him.
Yeah, absolutely. So anything else we should talk about this elimination, the future of Darrell, Veronica? I think Ryan McCord, Wait, was it Ryan McCord? No, Mikey the Doctor, excuse me. Mikey the Doctor hit the nail right on the head. I don't think Darrell comes back for another season. I think he fits perfectly for the Challenge All-Stars. I agree with that statement.
And he's done well in those.
Yeah, exactly, because it's more of
Because
his. It's less political.
It's less political. It's
yeah.
shorter. There's less people involved. Like being well liked actually does carry a lot of weight. Whereas
Here it doesn't
now
matter.
yeah.
Absolutely. So moving on, any lasting remarks for tonight's episode?
I think we covered it all.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think we
So
got
let's
it.
get into some segments. What do we got tonight, Alex? MVP, LVP? Are we going straight into?
No,
I think Radar Watch. We've kind of retired by
Radar
now.
Watch we've retired. We do have
This day in challenge history.
we do have this day in challenge history.
Tina goes home. Wes goes home.
We actually have
Goodbye, Nehemiah.
We actually have 2 tonight.
God.
First one is not a trivia question, but I just wanted to call it out here. So it's November 23rd, 23 years ago.
Jesus Christ.
I think it was the 2nd season ever. Yeah, Real World. The title was Real World Road Rules
Oh my
Challenge.
God, they didn't call foul.
And why this episode is important is because I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the challengers for their daily challenge or whatever actually got to meet up with Reggie Miller
Stop it.
and Kobe Bryant.
RP.
RIP. And I think around Kobe's passing, I did see like challenge stuff circulating with like the pictures of them like in the gym, but
Bring back those.
just
days,
like
honestly.
just like a unreal experience for those people to like be on the challenge and see fucking Reggie and Kobe. That's awesome.
Great moment. And your second part?
Second, this day in challenge history.
It's got to be the episode title, right?
We have it is the duel. But this episode title surprisingly did not have a spoiler. So there is going to be a trivia question. I don't know if Boogie's in the chat because I honestly don't know if you guys are gonna know this. But your question is, who did Svetlana beat in an elimination
No fucking idea.
Oh my
on
God.
this episode?
No idea.
I'll give you a hint. It was a disqualification.
No idea.
No clue.
I think Mikey the Doctor might know this one.
Boogie, where you at, boy?
God, look at that ball.
God, it sounds like a ball. I have no idea.
Svetlana beat and Push Me. Do you remember that was the one CT got DQ'd on?
Bye.
It's not Tina. That's a good guess. Old challenger.
Paula.
No, even old at the time of this. She kind of fucked around with Nehemiah.
Oh, Beth?
Yes.
God.
Svetlana beat Beth. Beth had her dominated and then got DQ'd because you had to unclip the fucking thing. Yeah. Yeah, but that was that's this day in challenge history.
There we go.
Wow.
All right, what's next? MVP, LVP?
Let's do it.
All right, MVP, LVP time. Oh, there is he from the what the fuck? Where'd you come from? It's our favorite segment of the night, MVP, LVP. First message that we see will be the MVP, LVP. For some reason, I'm feeling like it's going to be Andy, Alex, Trev.
You always predict the order.
I haven't seen it.
As we wait
get
for
out
the
of the way.
order.
What do you mean get it out of the way? It's on the little board right here. Relax.
As we wait for the order.
Alex,
What are you
Trev,
guys?
God, McCord had me right.
Because he
No,
heard you say it.
no. But we are going Mike the Doctor. So Alex, Trev, Andy is the official order. But
Oh, I'm up first. My MVP
fuck,
for the
I just
episode.
lost this.
Yeah.
The under hit by like 25.
All right, you're
You
up.
did.
MVP.
I'm in.
Mikey the Doctor, thank you for the LVP MVP tonight.
My MVP tonight's episode.
Dot.
I'm gonna go, I guess,
Dot.
chalk again. I'm gonna go bananas.
Ooh.
He fucking slithered his way out of there. He is like, even though he's in danger, even though he has a target on his back, does he really? Has the game really begun? Yes, it has, as Nelly T would say. But like, the dude is just like, even he doesn't panic. That's the thing. Half these teams, they get eliminated, they get angry at the other team. Bananas just kind of sits back, smirks, let the other teams do the talking. So I'm going MVP Bananas for tonight.
I really don't think there's a good MVP tonight. Fucking hell. I think my MVP tonight, and I think this might be the first ever time.
That's a good pick, by the way.
I think the first ever time that I'm choosing people in the chat straight up. And I'm going to the team of Mikey the Doctor and Ryan McCord. Those are my MVPs tonight.
That's a good pick.
It is Wednesday. We are literally in the East Coast time zone, an hour 20 away from Thanksgiving. And you boys, and also I should put a little asterisk by Izzy Medina. Izzy Medina, thank you. Honorable mention. Honorable mention.
What are you putting by her name?
All right, no. Mikey the Doctor, an asterisk, I said. Mikey the Doctor, Ryan McCord, they are my MVPs tonight. They have been in the chat all night. They have been blasting the chat.
That's a good pick.
I fucking love those guys. Izzy, hey, a little more interaction, and we fucking love you too, even though we still do. But those are my two picks tonight, or I guess my one pick tonight. The team of Mikey the Doctor. I know last week we kind of got off the rails of what is a team, what is not a team. I'm going McCord and Mikey the Doctor. Izzy, shout out. Fucking love you too.
Okay.
No homo.
My MVP for tonight is going to be a solo person, not a team.
Roger.
And it's going to be fucking Spider Nelly. I mean, he did it. He won another daily. Granted, I don't think he necessarily played the power correctly, but he had power. And for this EP, if you have power, in my opinion, you're in the running for MVP. So I'll give it to Nelly T happily.
Yep.
I mean, he had so many smirky moments, so many cutaways to I don't know what Nelly's thinking. And then he's on the dance floor just blacked out dancing. His interrogation of Amber B and Chauncey B at the club when they were like first starting the like dominoes were starting to fall. You could tell he was blacked out, and it was just like it was so exciting to watch. So I'm happily giving my pick to Nelly T.
All
Actually,
right.
Spider Nelly.
LVP, Alex. I'm just messing.
Is it you?
No, it's you. Let's
Oh,
not get lost in
sorry.
the snake.
All right, yeah. All right. Is it you or me? All right. So my pick for LVP.
All right, Alex.
Shut up.
My pick for LVP. God, honestly, like I hate to do it. I think my LVP for tonight is gonna be. Honestly, I hate even having the first pick.
You want me to go?
No, I don't. I'm gonna say the format. It's not going to be a person. I always like giving it to people, not like non-people, as some of my cohorts prefer. But I don't like this format. I think this EP should be the last time we see this format where you have to vote in 4 people. It's just you're almost putting a hindrance on winning the daily. And I fucking hate that. Like, we talked about it, like how we would change things up, whether the loser goes straight in or there's only 3 teams that get voted in. At this point in time, with this amount of teams left, I'm giving my LVP to the format because having to win and then vote in half of the fucking house
Too much
makes no sense. And that's why I'm giving it my LVP because I don't want it to happen again. I do think it will happen again. I don't want it to happen again, but that's why I'm giving it my LVP because like tonight in my mind is the breaking point for this format, and I don't want to see it happen again.
Good pick. Good pick. My pick tonight was probably 12 and a half minutes into this episode tonight. And it's foreshadowing by far. Production has done a shitty job of just completely ruining an episode. I know we joke around about, the back in the old days when it was like goodbye Anissa for an episode title, but we are damn near pretty close without them telling us. Like, I mean, it is just too much. It is just too much. And I fucking hate it. I like being surprised. And like, I remember sitting around with these guys and we're like, Bananas is going in, Bananas is going in, Bananas is going in. And then 5 minutes later, we're like, oh, he's going to be safe because literally they just show us too much. Don't show us that. So it's a little frustrating. It is what it is. But yeah, I got to go with foreshadowing as my LVP.
That's a good pick. I mean, I think one of us called it out as Nelly's going to win the daily based on the foreshadowing. And then another one called it out as Amber's somehow going to go in. So, I mean, we knew a very good majority of this EP strictly based on foreshadowing.
Yep.
So I could not agree more.
Yep. Alex, round us out for this Thanksgiving pod LVP tonight.
My LVP, I'm going to go with the losing team of
Wow.
Darrell and Veronica.
Right.
Darrell has refused to play the game for several years now. And like we said, it sucks, but you do that and you lose, you're going to deserve an LVP. And then Veronica, you could give an honorable mention MVP to the little bungee cords for like not just collapsing. But I mean, she kind of played like shit. She came into the season, you could tell even by like her attitude and the way she was talking that she knew she had no shot at winning.
She wasn't
laughing. Yeah,
exactly.
She was not locked in. And so that's always like, why are you fucking on the show if you know that you don't have a shot? See Anissa. So the team just overall had a very bad night, bad season. I don't want to see Veronica back. I wouldn't mind seeing Darrell back, but just a bad night for them.
absolutely. Anything else from tonight's episode? Honorable mention, LVP Adam Meadows for not being in the studios with you guys. Could not agree more. That's a great pick, Ryan McCord.
Or not even in the live chat.
Not even in the live chat either. So, I mean, yeah, I think is the best way to describe it. We're mad, but
Can I give an honorable mention MVP?
let's hear it.
It might sound a bit
Bananas, Johnny.
no, almost out of it doesn't make sense, but it does. I want to give an honorable mention MVP to Horacio and Olivia.
Explain.
They have done
And an incredible job of flying under the radar.
not only flying under the radar, but aligning themselves politically to still be a rookie team who no one really wants to go against, but no one also doesn't want to vote in. And at this point in the challenge, that's hard to do. So, I am all in on that team. I like them both. Horacio seems like a good competitor. Olivia is pretty bad. Some might say JV Gabby. So I want to give an honorable mention to those two because it's tough to be in the position that they're in at this late in the season. And I want to give them an honorable mention for it.
All right. Good honorable mention. I know you've always had a thing for Olivia's of the world. So with that being said, thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I've been your host, Trevor. You can follow us on Twitter at Stir the Pod. You can also follow us on Instagram at Stir_the_pod. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving from our family to yours. We're all in this together. Troy Bolton-esque. Love you guys. Shout out Duffy. Bye-bye.
Love you guys.